Hello, everyone, and welcome to CLS Live again for March 2022. CLS Live, of course, is our monthly live stream series presented by the publishers of Contact Lens Spectrum. Once again, I am your host, Jason Jedlicka, and I want to thank you for taking the time to tune into today's episode. Each program, I have the chance to chat with a leader in the world of contact lenses, finding out what's going on in the contact lens industry from their perspective and with their insights. We talk about new and future products, the latest research, worldwide trends in prescribing, and even bring you updates from the floor of contact lens conferences. Today's episode, we're going to migrate away from the topics we've been covering a lot lately. For those of you who've tuned in the last few months, you know we've been spending a lot of time on myopia management, scleral lenses. And this month, we're going to go a different direction. We're going to talk about the publication that is our sponsor, the publication that we all know and read and learn a lot from, Contact Lens Spectrum. To do that, I am pleased to welcome our guest, the new boss at Contact Lens Spectrum, Mark Durick. Mark is one of the managing partners of Pentavision, the publisher of Contact Lens Spectrum, and has been associated with the optometry group since 2005. A 40-year publishing executive, Mark has spent his career in sales, marketing, and research in technology, publishing, and vision care. He's also the publisher of Optometric Management and Eye Care Business and oversees all business operations, including sales, marketing, and research for the group. Mark, thank you so much for being the guest of today's show and honestly for letting me be part of Pentavision's social media arm as the host of CLS Live.
Well, thank you, Jason. I appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Yeah, I've had such a great time being part of this live stream the last several months. When you start a new endeavor like this, you never know, but it's just been the greatest thing. So the team you have working with you is fantastic, and it's just been a real privilege for me. So thank you for that. So wait a minute, I saw something about 40 years of doing this. What's going on? You don't look old enough to have been doing this for 40 years already. So
right. Well, luckily after school, I found my niche, Jason,
Started early, right?
Yeah. And I never looked back. So I fell into a good spot in publishing. Thank God. So
that's
everything's
awesome.
Good.
Well, maybe you take care of yourself too. I heard some reference to drinking a green shake earlier today. So
yeah, I was able to knock that down. I thought I was like a little bit under the gun, but Erica said, take your time.
Yeah, you're good.
So I'm all set. I'm energized, Jason.
Love it. Love it. So I gave your brief bio a moment ago, but explain to me how you got into publishing then all these 40 some years ago and then how you got to Pentavision, 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah. Well, actually, I've been part of the group since 1986, if you can believe that.
Okay.
And because back in the day when we started, we had different media in different markets, in vision care, in sports, in music, and in technology. And the technology sector is where I cut my teeth with. At the time, it was called Boucher Communications. So, which I had a minority ownership in that. And so we had, over 150 people working for us, and again, in different markets. So it's been a long time, but I spent my entire career when I first came in 86 till 2000 on the technology side. Publishing magazines for Microsoft and IBM and Hewlett Packard. And so that's how I got started. And then 2005, after we sold the technology division, and I went with that, I had to go away for a couple of years to a few other companies and got beat up a little bit. I thought I wanted to stay in technology, but that was the wrong move.
Right. A little too stressful.
Yeah, that's right. So in 2005, I came back, and it's been a terrific run and lots of changes, particularly the last, few years, of course. And so here we go. And now, again, my new role, as you said, is group publisher of Contact Lens Spectrum, of Optometric Management, and Eye Care Business magazine. So a lot going on with those three publications. And then a couple of years ago, we introduced social media in a big way to the group. So I'm also the chief revenue officer on the social media side for the entire company, not just the optometry group, where most of my responsibility is right now.
Yeah, it's ever diversifying field to be in. I know that you've we talked about it earlier, how it used to be and how it is. It's there's so much more layers to things, and
Mm.
you've got to stay connected with people on so many different fronts.
Yeah.
So gets to be a lot to take in. But so let's go back to your history in publishing, and you talked about the technology side coming over, then more specifically to eye care,
Hmm.
in 2005. I mean, I don't get publishing. I don't have any clue how you think, but you obviously have to have a perspective on what you want your publications to do.
Right.
What is their role? And so we talk about your philosophy when it comes to publishing. Talk
Hmm.
a little bit about that philosophy and how you decide, what you want to publish and what you want
Sure.
to put in your publications.
Right. Well, we have a huge responsibility, Jason, to the communities that we serve. And with that, we have three constituencies, if you will. We've got the reader, which is the eye care professional, be it the MD, the OD, the optician, the staff. We have the vendors who supply products and services to the marketplace, and the final part is the consumer. So our goal is to educate as much as we possibly can the eye care practitioner so they can relay that information and have the best care for their patients that come into the practice. And the vendor side, it's our job to make sure that we try to make the connection where they can provide the ECP with products and services so they can thrive in the industry. So, to me, it's all about making the connections, but the first thing we need to do is research the eye care practitioner to make sure that we're delivering the right content for them to thrive and grow, not only now, but in the future for a long time to come. So research is really the backbone of what we do, Jason.
Mhm.
It really is what drives the content of every magazine that we publish, every webinar that we produce, anything content wise is 100% based on what the ECPs tell us that their business challenges are, et cetera. So, it's not a ready, fire, aim approach,
Mhm.
where Apple, has been doing that forever. And you certainly can't argue with Apple, but, we don't want to go down that route. We want to make sure that we give the eye care practitioner exactly what they need. And then it's a win-win for everyone. So when we do research, basically, it's our business plan of what
Yeah.
we do for the company.
And so then, thinking about that, a big part of what you do, obviously, because you rely on advertisers, of course, you have to.
Yeah,
And so, but then the companies that will advertise are also the companies that we need to know about their products, whether it's
that's right.
equipment, lenses, spectacle lenses, frames, etc. And a lot of times, like, I don't always get the time to meet with all the potential companies I could meet with on my time frame or their time frame. There's just no time. But when I have the time to sit down and look through a publication or go on to a digital version of that, and so it's the service you're providing in linking me to these companies is really critical. And
Hmm.
it's a fairly unique place to be. Can you talk about how you also then build relationships with these companies, and how that blends together for us?
Yeah, sure. That's a great question. I think it boils down to trust, Jason. Like, for instance, when we do research over the ECP to find out what their needs are, we share that with the vendors in the industry so they can better communicate with the eye care practitioner on what their challenges are. And so that helps tremendously. A lot of the folks that we deal with, most of the folks that we deal with have been in the industry for a long time. A lot are new as well, but they need to understand how to communicate. Like, for instance, when the pandemic hit, and
Mhm.
it's still going on now, and it's I think it's basically the new normal, is the ECPs are telling us that they have cut the amount of vendors that they do business with in each category, because they want the very best of the best. So we challenge the vendors that you need to be on your game. Your
Yeah.
products need to be stellar. Your communication needs to be stellar as well. So with that, you can assist the ECP on growing their practices.
And I'm sure that we've had far fewer in-person interactions with our reps and whatnot, and so we're looking for alternative ways to connect and find out
That's right.
what's going on with our companies that we work with.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is another great bridge, because I was thinking, as we were kind of contemplating what we we're going to talk about today, and I look at what Pentavision's about, and of course the publications, but also the conferences.
Yeah.
And someone might look at it and at first glance say, why would a publishing company put on conferences? How are they related? But then when you think about it, it makes perfect sense, because you already have the relationship with the eye care practitioners and the vendors and the company.
Right.
And that's really what the meetings are about.
Sure.
Can you talk about, how you got involved with hosting these conferences and what they mean to Pentavision as an entity?
Yeah, sure. Well, again, it ties back to research, Jason, where we asked the ECPs how they want their information. What would they like? And, conferences came up, webinars came up. This is obviously a while ago, and now we produce 100 webinars a year, and many trade shows, events like the Global Myopia Symposium and GSLS and Optometric Management Symposium, and then many others on the MD side, which we also cover. So, it's all about, we have a tremendous database of over 200,000 ECPs, and half of that group has given us permission to connect them with vendors in the community. So that's that's a city, 100,000 people. That's a lot of people. So, in addition to the magazines, be it digital or print and anything else, it's just another environment for the vendors to interact with the ECPs on helping them grow their practices.
Yeah, and it's a natural, because I know a lot of people who like the idea or try to put on conferences, but they just don't have the connections. They don't have the people to go to like you do. So it does make sense. It's just at first glance you say, well, why the connection? But it's a natural, I think, to have someone who's already built relationships on both sides bring those two together in various different ways, whether it's in a publication or through social media or through conferences. They all are variations on the same idea of what we're trying to do.
Exactly. And then, the networking capabilities when you go to a live event, say, or even a virtual event, which we're doing many now, is important as well, because there's the peer-to-peer interaction, Jason, is very important. That's the number one. If you ask an ECP, where do you go first for trusted, information on how to perform, this and that, it's peers. And the second would be obviously, going to the publishers that provide content for that. But, peer-to-peer interaction, will never go away, be it digital or live or anything else.
Yeah. And I think what's interesting, I hadn't considered this before, it just occurred to me as you said that I think, having done this now for some long number of years, I won't say how long, but I think where you get your information and what type of information you're looking for evolves over your career.
Mm-hmm.
I think early on, I wanted more articles, I wanted more lectures. And as I've grown my knowledge base, I want more of the peer-to-peer as well. And so I think it suits us as practitioners to have it brought to us in different opportunities depending upon where we are in our career as well.
Right, that's exactly right. And so anything, our editors, when you said I'm the new boss of Contact Lens Spectrum, I actually, the bosses are Aaron Morgan, Jason Nichols, April Jasper, and their teams, and they, they have a big responsibility to vet everything that comes across their desk. So what we do from an editorial standpoint, Jason, it's best practices is what we like to see when it comes across an editor's desk. Like, how is this going to actually help the ECP do a better job? from everything from the back end of the practice to the, dealing with the consumer. So, that's sort of our mantra. So we don't do anything, half baked, so to speak. It really needs to, come across as best practices, because why put it out there?
Sure. So we talked a moment ago about COVID, which has been a life event for all of us that that we'll obviously never forget. It will impact all of us forever.
Yeah.
So go back through maybe the last couple of years, and if you can just kind of contemplate what the challenges you face, how you've dealt with them, what changes occurred because of this that are going to stick, maybe,
Yeah.
and then
Okay.
maybe a little bit about what going forward, what might we see continue to change even more.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think, two words: digital transformation.
Yeah.
That's, and we were going there in a big way, anyway. But the pandemic really put an exclamation point on, you need to go digital in everything you do, like now. Especially, at the onset of the pandemic, you couldn't get in anywhere, you couldn't do anything. But the beauty of having a publishing firm that does the right thing is it's your content. So be it, long as you have the content and you can get it to the ECPs, in any way you can, that's the most important thing. So we basically, the magazines, Jason, went from print to digital for a number of months because, again, practices were closed, nothing was getting in. So we had to have our digital magazines that come out every month, but we also have webinars and virtual trade shows and one-on-one meeting with a vendor and an ECP. So everything went digitally. And as a result, even though how painful this whole experience was, I guess there's some silver linings in it, that we've had our best years ever since the pandemic. And again, I think it's just a testament to the content that we provide. As an example, Eye Care Business, which is one of our publications, won the Healthcare Magazine of the Year a couple of years ago. And it was just a digital publication that won it. It was 2,000 different publications that were entered. And Erin Morgan and her team, we came out number one.
Yeah.
And that was it. It was a digital delivery. So, and everything we do now, we do research all the time, as I said before. But ECPs now and in the future, because we asked that question, what's going on now and what do you want to do 5 years down the line? They want to receive their information digitally. So that has been a growth engine for us, to be quite honest with you. But we also have the flexibility and the timeliness to deliver digitally much more efficient than we could in any printed magazine. So that's really the big difference is digital transformation. It's here to stay, be it a virtual trade show or reading a publication on your phone, which most people do. When we did our research, 45% of the ECPs told us that they want their content on their phone. And that's how they read the magazine. That's how they view a webinar. That's how they view a newsletter. So it's just kind of the way things are happening right now. So it was scary at first, and we had to put our stake in the ground. Like, we're going all digital. We're just jumping right in, and we've never looked back. And to me, that's just the future, and you need to embrace that, and we have.
Yeah, I think that says so much about you guys as a team, that you have the confidence in yourselves to go through a fairly significant transformation, and to, I'm not going to say you would never worry, but to say, you know what, we're going to pull this off.
Yep.
And we're going to make it work. And I look at, for example, I mean, I'm a big GSLS guy. I'm always there. And a year ago, it was all virtual, and it was different,
Yep.
but we had it, and we stayed connected to the people we needed to connect to, and we got through. We got our information. This year, You guys did a great job having it live again, and
Yeah,
it was a
thank
lot of
God.
fun. And again, I just think, again, between being able to put on a virtual conference, and that hopefully isn't the norm every year for every conference, of course, but to be able to say, hey, we can do it both ways now, and so we can meet the need at the moment, no matter what the circumstances are.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
We've got just a couple of minutes, Mark. If you can, and maybe I'm asking you to go out on a limb a little bit here, but thinking about where we're at right now with our publications, with our conferences, et cetera, the social media side, everything. I know that you guys are looking at other publication companies as well and seeing what other people are doing. We were talking a little bit about it earlier with some other magazines, and what they're doing to evolve. What's maybe one thing that you could see an evolution occurring with what Spectrum is doing in the next couple of years that isn't part of what we do now?
Right. Now, it's a great question. Well, because of the digital transformation, Jason,
Uh-huh.
our next level of growth is globally. So because because you're, produce everything digitally, you have your internet and you have your website that does this, that, and the other thing, we can reach into, areas that you could never do before. So, to me and to, the editors, talking globally is our growth. That's our future. So in addition to covering North America, which we do as a company with all of our different types of media in the ophthalmology market and the optometry space, is broadening and going after the world with our content.
Yeah.
Because there, whatever country you look at has vision care and
Yeah.
has
And
needs for vision care. So globally is it, Jason? If I had to pin it down to one.
that makes sense. And contact lenses again are, it seems like, especially when like the Global Specialty Lens Symposium really was taking off, we started to recognize how much as a global community we can do for each other with contact lenses, how we can understand how others prescribe, and of course now with Ortho-K and the whole myopia management, much of that is being done in other parts of the world. So I do think we are a more than ever, a global community, and we need our publications and our information to be provided globally. So
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Jason, last year when we did the virtual for GSLS, we had 82 countries
Right.
attend. That goes to show you, the interest is there, the need for content, and the need for right content,
Yeah.
the correct content that's vetted and that could help ECPs is just, tremendous. So globally is the answer, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up here, but Mark, it's been great to have the chance to talk with you, get to know you better. I knew of you. I didn't know you very well. Hopefully I get to know you better in the years to come as we
Well,
continue to work with
absolutely,
each other.
Jason. We appreciate you taking the time to do this, and we take what we do seriously. It's a huge responsibility, as I said before, and every day that we make sure we try to do the right things. And so we're doing the best that we can, but we're open arms to hearing on ways that ECPs out there might think we have some improvements, which we never rest on our laurels.
Perfect. Well, just wanted to remind you all that we do this again a month from now in April. Our next episode is going to be on April 12th, and we're going to kick off a fun series through the summer months where we're going to talk about the history of contact lenses, past, present, future. And we're going to start off April 12th talking about the past. And when we talk about the past, the history of contact lenses, who better to talk about than the founders of the Contact Lens Museum, Pat Caroline and Craig Norman. So I invite you to be a part of that episode as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. So looking forward to our future episodes as well. And as we go through the summer again, talking about more of the evolution of contact lenses through the years with some of the great names in contact lenses. So look forward to those episodes as well. Everybody have a great day. Thanks again, Mark, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, appreciate it, Jason. Thank you very much.